Welcome back, listeners. We got a wide selection of tunes for you. Well, let's get right into it on this haunting night we have here.
Accept this. For the sake of your sanity, pray it isn't true. The Legend of Hell House.
So by order of the Pottsville Chamber of Commerce, I find you guilty of trespassing, destruction of property, disturbing the peace, and murder.
Murder?
Oh, no, not murder. But those other crimes, I sentence you to...
Read all that you may. lover. Stay with our lover. Stay with our lover. Read all that you may.
What a bright full moon we have here, listeners. What a bone-chilling night we have here. A good time to listen to the most chillest beats at the Little Radio. Oh, let's get into the next one.
Perhaps you'd better not watch, Williams. I did not heed him. Would that I had, and so spared myself the dreams that invade my sleep even yet. I stood at the window behind him and watched what went on in that room, for the smell of smoke was now permeating the house. Mrs. Potter, or what animated her gross body, started up, went awkwardly to the back door, retreated to the window, retreated from it, and came back to the center of the room between the table and the wood stove, not yet fired against the coming cold. There she fell to the floor, heaving and writhing. The room filled slowly with smoke, hazing about the yellow lamp, making the room indistinct, but not indistinct enough to conceal completely what went on in the course of that terrible struggle on the floor, where Mrs. Potter threshed about as if in mortal convulsion, and slowly, half visibly, something other took shape, an incredible amorphous mass, only half glimpsed in the smoke, tentacles, shimmering with a cold intelligence and physical coldness that I could feel through the window. The thing rose like a cloud above the now motionless body of Mrs. Potter, and then fell upon the stove and drained into it like vapor. The stove! Cried Professor Keene and fell back. Above us, out of the chimney, came a spreading blackness like smoke, gathering itself briefly there. Then it hurtled like a lightning bolt aloft into the stars in the direction of the Hyades, back to that place from which old Wizard Potter had called it into himself, away from where it had lain in wait for the Potters to come from Upper Michigan and afford it new host on the face of Earth. We managed to get Mrs. Potter out of the house, much shrunken now, but alive. On the remainder of that night's events, there is no need to dwell. How the professor waited until fire consumed the house to collect his store of star-shaped stones, of the reuniting of the Potter family, freed from the curse of Witch's Hollow, and determined never to return to that haunted valley, of Andrew, who, when we came to waken him, was talking in his sleep of great winds that fought and tore, and the place by the Lake of Holly where they live in glory forever. What it was that old Wizard Potter had called down from the stars, I lacked the courage to ask, but I knew that it touched upon secrets better left unknown to the races of men. Secrets I would never have become aware of had I not chanced to take District School number 7, and had among my pupils a strange boy who was Andrew Potter.
In my tortured ears, there sounds unceasingly a nightmare whirring and flapping, and a faint, distant baying as of some gigantic hound. It is not dream. It is not, I fear, even madness, for too much has already happened to give me these merciful doubts. St. John is a mangled corpse. I alone know why, and such is my knowledge that I am about to blow out my brains for fear I shall be mangled in the same way. Down unlit and illimitable corridors of eldritch fantasy sweeps the black, shapeless nemesis that drives me to self-annihilation. May heaven forgive the folly and morbidity which led us both to so monstrous a fate. Wearied with the commonplaces of a prosaic world, where even the joys of romance and adventure soon grow stale, St. John and I had followed enthusiastically every aesthetic and intellectual movement which promised respite from our devastating ennui. The enigmas of the symbolists and the ecstasies of the pre-Raphaelites, all were ours in their time. But each new mood was drained too soon of its diversity diverting novelty and appeal. Only the somber philosophy of the decadence could hold us, and this we found potent only by increasing gradually the depth and diabolism of our penetrations. Baudelaire and Huysmans were soon exhausted of thrills, till finally there remained for us only the more direct stimuli of unnatural personal experiences and adventures. It was this frightful emotional need which led us eventually to that detestable course which even in my present fear I mention with shame and timidity. That hideous extremity of human outrage, the abhorred practice of grave robbing. On October 29th, we found in the soft earth underneath the library window a series of footprints utterly impossible to describe. They were as baffling as the hordes of great bats which haunted the old manor house in unprecedented and increasing numbers. The horror reached a culmination on November 18th, when St. John, walking home after dark from the distant railway station, was seized by some frightful carnivorous thing and torn to ribbons. His screams had reached the house, and I had hastened to the terrible scene in time to hear a whir of wings and see a vague, black, cloudy thing silhouetted against the rising moon. My friend was dying when I spoke to him, and he could not answer coherently. All he could do was to whisper, "The amulet, that damn thing." Then he collapsed, an inert mass of mangled flesh. I buried him the next midnight in one of our neglected gardens, and mumbled over his body one of the devilish rituals he had loved in life.
Well, that was an interesting mix. Well, see you listeners in the next one. Have an amazing Halloween and a spooky night.